Good evening, YouTube. So we got another little project today. I'm gonna try to do this refoam on a Kicker XPL. I bought these probably 15 years ago, and they've been great speakers. Very well made. They sound good in my opinion, but just like all foam surround, over time it just starts to deteriorate. It's actually still holding, but it's flaking off. So got some new surround, and I looked online. Haven't been able to find anybody that's done a Kicker foam surround because it's double stitched. So that's gonna be interesting to deal with, but I'm gonna dive right into it. I got 3 of them, so might be down to 2. But we're going to see what we can do with this, and I'm confident that we can probably get this going. So hang in there with me, and we'll see what we can do with it. I had these 3 on that. I don't know if you heard me in my other video, but hooked up to a Harman Kardon 70 watt per channel amp, and these are 8 ohms a piece. And the 3 in the sealed cabinet didn't sound all that great when I initially hooked them up, just because there wasn't enough power. It's about a 70 watt amp per channel. So I kept messing with the way it was wired, and I was like, well, I'll just try it at the lowest ohm load at low volume to see what it sounds like, just out of curiosity. So I wired them all in parallel, 3 of these at 8 ohms in parallel, so I ended up at about 2.5 ohms on a Harman Kardon home receiver rated for 8. And lo and behold, it really did sound good, but I was like, yeah, I probably shouldn't leave it like that. I don't want to blow this old lamp up. And I meant well, but I never did change it. I left it there, and over time got braver and braver and turned it up louder and started watching movies on it and such, and it stayed like that literally for like until the other day, until I got the Carver amp. So I ran that old Harman Kardon at 2.5 ohms on one channel for just about the whole time I had these, for like, I don't know if it was 15 years. It's probably closer to like 12 or 13 years. But yeah, I was really impressed. It's still going, and it's running my mids and highs now. Seems to be going better than I thought it would. Yeah, stayed 2.5 ohms that whole time. I turned it up pretty loud a few times. Star Wars and such. Okay, yeah, okay. Might be able to even save the gasket. The thing I'm worried about is the stitching. But I don't know, man. This razor knife might eat that right up. Yeah, so far so good. Man, shoot. Yeah. I don't think this is going to be a big deal at all. If I get this gasket out of the way, that'll be easier to access the stitches. Nice baskets. They're pretty heavy built. I don't know how good these surrounds are. They're the only ones I could find anywhere that said anything about kicker. But I laid it on the cone already and it seemed to be the right size. We'll see. Now, the interesting part, I don't really know how to tackle the stitches. I imagine it's all impregnated with glue and stuff. So I'm just gonna try. It's kind of like a recessed area on the cone where it actually sits down into the edge. So I'm gonna try to just cut it. If I get into the cone, I'll just have to glue that spot or whatever. Oh yeah, that ain't no big deal. Shoot, we got this. I guess these cones are like polypropylene or something. They seem real good, sturdy. So I don't think there'll be any issues with those ever. I don't know what good the spiders are. I mean, they look good. Spiders are kind of like cloth, so they last typically the life of the speaker. So I did a lot of cleaning off camera. Got it down pretty good. Just had to keep, I kind of supported the cone. One hand. Did this number. So I think we're ready. Wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. Definitely the little lip on the cone is really cool. I think it's going to help putting it back together. And the fact that the cone's really made out of some good material, you know. It's not delicate. So this is going to be time consuming. They did on Simply Speakers. He held his cone up with his fingers, and basically you just put the glue on and keep working on it, and you keep pressing and it gets tacky, and then eventually it'll just stay down. And at some point you can rest it, flip it up, and glue it to the frame. And once this is bonded first to the cone, that'll give you some, that'll make that secure. And then when this glue is still damp, you can kind of work the cone and press and work the cone and try the different areas and just keep going, so you don't have to cut this out and put shims in, because it's going to want to go back to its original position, because the spider's got half of that under control. So, but it's just a process. So I'm gonna dive in. Kind of in the middle of doing the other 15, the project speakers that we started off with. I had a little, I nicked some of the leads, so I got to solder those up and get back into it. I just took a break, and these were getting pretty rough, so it still sounded pretty good, but I knew when, you know, they weren't going to last much longer. And this is not wanting to come off of here. I got ahead of myself. I got a bead of glue here. Didn't realize I forgot to start the camera, so we missed a little bit. But got a bead of glue on the cone where the surround goes. So this is just a real time consuming process right here. So I can use this of holding the cone up and then pressing the surround in place until the glue, it's already feeling tacky. It does seem to be the exact right size, which is cool. Never knew. Probably gonna have some glue around the edge. It is what it is, buddy. So that's glued. And the cone feels pretty centered. So I'm gonna go ahead and glue the outside edge. Same process. Just gonna move the cone around and then, you know, let it kind of center itself. Thought about just cutting this out. I got some carbon fiber dust caps, the smaller ones for the other build that I couldn't use. I thought about cutting this out and shimming it. I don't know, still kind of thinking about it, but I don't want to cut it in the wrong place and make a mess. It just doesn't feel like it needs it. From what I understand, it's not a big deal. So I think we're going to go without doing that. Try to keep them original. All right, time to glue the edge. Had to pause because my wife had prime rib from a party, and priorities, you know. Prime rib, priorities, gotta eat. to get another tube of this so I can finish the other 15 build. I like this glue. This really seems to be good stuff. I think I'm using it a little heavy, but that's all right. That's it, we're all the way around. It's only been about 10 minutes and it's really sticking down nice. I am really happy with the way this turned out. And it's centered, nothing's rubbing. They said the way to tell is push on each side. See if you got rubbing anywhere. Nothing's rubbing, touching. So these are as good as new. I mean, they got some plates. I mean, they got a lot of playtime on them, but everything else is solid. So as far as I'm concerned, they're as good as new. So I'm gonna give this a little bit longer, and then I'm gonna start putting the gasket back on. I'm gonna clamp it all together for a while. And we're gonna just put this back together. So I clean these off. I just took the razor knife and cleaned it. You know, these are good little gaskets, and they fit in there like they're supposed to. So no reason to buy new ones. This whole thing, these 3 surrounds, I don't think they were. They came in sets, so I got 4 actually. I don't remember what they were. They weren't that much money. 30 bucks maybe. So totally worth it. I don't even think they were that much. Yeah, man. It was a lot less painless than I thought it was going to be. Getting ready to put the gasket on. Almost forgot to hit record again. So really happy with the way this is turning out. I'm gonna clamp it down, clamp the gasket. This stuff seems to dry really quick. I think I'm gonna, here in an hour or so, hook this thing up. Confident in this glue. Gotta get some more because I got 2 more of these to do, and then I gotta put together the project 15. Yeah, man, we are running out. Oh shoot, I can't see the holes no more. Wow. Almost lined those up wrong. That's it. That's it for that project. I'll show you a new little addition for the channel. Got this old antique tripod from Habitat Restore. Same place I got the soldering irons. I got 2 soldering irons that were brand new, antique, never used. One Weller, which has turned out to be my favorite one, and then the Craftsman one you guys seen on the channel. This was $5. It's a Star D. It's a real high quality, but it's old, you know. But everything works on it, and it actually extends up to about 5.5 feet. And then got this little dude off Amazon. So just clamps the phone in place. So yeah, moving forwards and doing what we can. So thank you guys for hanging in there, and we'll get the 15 together, the build video, and yeah, move on into some new projects. I took this in. I kept pushing on it, and I kept feeling something. It wasn't as apparent as I thought it would be, like a rub, but the voice coil is rubbing. So I took my fingernail and just went around the edge of the dust cap, and it popped right up. So I needed to redo that anyway, but I got to redo the surround again because it's rubbing. Try to do it without a shim. Most of the videos I saw, no one uses shim, but use a shim if at all possible. So good thing is I had to buy 2 sets. I have 3 of these 10s. I had to buy 2 sets of 2, so I got an extra one. So it's just some time, but since I got this popped up, it did lead to one thing that's pretty cool. And I wasn't going to use these for anything but just backups, or you know, maybe put them in a car later. But reason being is because the dust cap said kicker, and I wasn't going to put that in my cabinets, and I kind of need a mid base, and I was thinking about a 10-inch, but I can put a regular dust cap in here and possibly run these as my 10-inch mid. I know they're subwoofers, but we'll try them and see how they do. But yeah, I think that's the direction we're headed in. So got to cut this back off and do it a second time. This time I want to use shims like I should have done the first time, but I did not think that dust cap was going to pop up that easy. And from here on out, I will not do this without doing shims and cutting the dust cap off. So there's an update. We will move forwards. Okay, update number 3. So we failed on the first attempt. Went ahead, peeled everything back off. The glue was still sort of forgiving. It was on there pretty good, but I managed to get it off. And all the stuff being fresh, it peeled off okay. I mean, it's, you know, I destroyed it, but saved the gaskets just like before. And add an extra one, surround. So not sure how I want to move forward with this thing, because it's got a plastic voice coil in there. It's lasted all this time. You know, I can't fault it really, but the cone's not centered on it. And if you try to center the cone, the voice coil hits the pole. It's just how they bonded the cone to the voice coil. It's crooked. So I don't really know how I want to move forward with this thing. I'm pretty sure I could shim this, and it would sound like it did before, I guess. But not too happy with that cone, man. It's almost a 1/4 inch low on the left side. Doesn't look that, you can't really see it so much on the camera, but I messed with it and pulled it up and tried to see if there's a way to straighten it out, and the voice coil touches the pole as soon as you budge it a little bit. I slid shims down in there, and they just glued the cone on crooked to the voice coil, so kind of feeling not feeling that right now. But I can't fault the speaker. I mean, it lasted this whole time. So trying to decide how to move forwards with it. If I should recone the whole thing with a whole new rig with a good voice coil with like a aluminum former. I don't know. Started to go ahead and just put this all back together again, but kind of was low on glue, so order some new glue. I'm gonna put this on the back burner for right now. I'm thinking I'm gonna go ahead and recone the other two. I'm gonna pull them and see if the cones are crooked on them too, and if they're square, then I'm gonna not recone, but do this around like I did on this one, and dust cap. Put a dust cap here instead of the kicker one, and put the dust cap in that matches the big 15s we built. So but yeah, kind of disappointed in this one. It was my fault that it didn't line up. I mean, if I'd have known that dust cap popped right off, I would have definitely popped it and shimmed it. But I thought I'd be all right. But that's how we learn. So not a real big loss. You know, just out of 15 bucks or something on it, 10 bucks. But move forwards, figure out how to do it. So thanks for hanging in there. You seen it here live. This is what happened. So y'all have a good one.